the Youth Employment Agency's 2021 job fair is currently underway at the Accra International Conference Centre. About 5,000 people are expected to participate in the event. According to the agency, 3,500 job vacancies are to be filled by the end of a two-day job fair. We know that the fair began yesterday, which was characterized by a near stampede with some chaos and, as you can see in your pictures, injuries to some of the prospective job seekers who thronged the Accra International Conference Centre. So we'll be bringing you the latest from there. My colleague Alfred Okanse has just been to the Accra International Conference Centre. He'll be joining me in studio with the latest from there. And the story is that the Youth Employment Agency is holding a two-day job and career fair aimed at offering opportunities to job seekers. And the first day of the job fair saw several hundreds of young people from the Accra International Conference Centre, which resulted in a near stampede. Some other individuals were injured from the incident. Some of the glass wares were shattered as part of that stampede at the International Conference Centre. And you should see the sheer number of people who were looking for jobs. That's unemployed young people looking for jobs who thronged the Accra International Conference Centre. According to the YEA, this is an opportunity to open up the young individuals to job opportunities numbering up to about 3,500. Today is the second day of the fair. We will be engaging my colleague Alfred Okanse to, understand what has changed between then and now. Whether individuals who thronged the area, have they been able to secure any jobs? Have they had any interactions with prospective employers so far? And what the security situation is. My colleague Alfred Okanse has just returned from the Accra International Conference Centre. He's joining me in studio for a conversation. Alfred, thank you for joining me. You are just returning from the International Conference Centre. Paint us a picture of what it looks like today.
As a matter of fact, Kamala, the situation is no different from what you just saw on the television, teeming young people there. And it's just not young people. From what I have gathered, you have other older people, fairly older people as well, who are looking for jobs. A number of them lost their jobs as a result of COVID-19. And so they are also there seeking to be employed. So you have these young people who have been looking for jobs for the last 5-10 years, who are already unemployed, and those who have been rendered unemployed as a result of COVID-19, also adding up to the already exacerbated situation of unemployment there. And so you have, unfortunately, one thing that we found out, which we're going to show to our viewers as well, is the disabled persons as well who have had to be part of the entire process. There's no specific arrangement for them. So now they are struggling for space for some sort of employment with these abled persons as well. And that's also posing a serious challenge. We were speaking to the YEA about it, and then also this particular incident that occurred, whether they need enough security in the place to be able to ensure that some of these instances are prevented, because it would have been very short-sighted to say that they weren't expecting a lot of young people. They know the situation of unemployment in this country. So why then not have enough security persons there to be able to ensure some order in the place?
I'll come back to you, Alfred, so you paint us a picture of the kind of conversation you had with those who had thronged the area. But let's now listen to the YEA, who have been telling us about this particular job fair in the second day that we're currently witnessing at the International Conference Centre.
It's not just going to be in Accra. It's a nationwide project. We're going to be starting with 5 regions. And after we have done this exploration, the youth who are not able to participate should not lose hope. We're going to be moving it to our district levels so that there will be mini job fairs in the course of the year for you to participate in as well. So this is something that is here to stay for youth employment. With the able work of our consultants that we had in collaboration with us, we were able to pull the employers to the teeth to give us 3,000 openings. So so with the youth bringing in their game, 3,000 jobs should be filled between yesterday and today.
And these are permanent jobs?
These are permanent jobs. And you see, that is the uniqueness of what we're looking to bring. We do have our 2-year jobs which end up always not being permanent after. So the vision of the chief executive was to come up with creative means that the youth could have permanent jobs in a sustainable way. So by coming here and connecting with the employers, the jobs you get here are not for 2 years or 6 months. They are for permanent. And I mean, if some of them are recruiting for part-time, full-time, we as the youth need to become flexible to these opportunities.
So you heard the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the YEA, Lydia Tiemo, speaking. But let me come back to you, Alfred. So once the individuals somehow find their way into the premises of the International Conference Centre, what is the procedure they have to follow? So
first off, at the entrance, you have the security men, private security, who would take your CV, look at it, and then they give you numbers.
Okay.
Right. So then you proceed to the entrance of the Accra International Conference Centre. They also have stationed some security personnel who would now ask you if you're applying to get into either the construction or the oil and gas,
right,
banking. Because bear in mind, this is a job fair, according to the YEA, that has both the public and private sector companies exhibiting or advertising their vacancies at one spot.
Okay.
So there are two canopies which you're going to see shortly. You have 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and making sure that they're controlling the crowd because of what happened yesterday. So what they've done now is to increase the amount of tents, the number of tents that they have there, and then making sure they sort it out. There's some sort of sorting process. So there are specific sectors on the right, specific sectors on the left, then they call a specific number of persons in at a particular time. This is just at their periphery. So when you get into the foyer, that's where the companies have set up their various booths. So depending on the sector you're applying to, if it's insurance, if it's banking, then you locate the company in that specific sector. Then you have a YEA employee direct you to this particular, that's the company that you're applying to. Then you show them your CV, you sit down, they go through 5 to 10 minutes interviewing process. Then after the interview, you leave your CV, and obviously they tell you you're gonna hear from them.
Okay. So it's not a guarantee that once you're able to make it into the foyer of the conference center, you are guaranteed a job.
It is not a guarantee. That once you make it into the foyer and you actually meet any of the company's representatives that are conducting the interview, you will be employed. That's the question that I asked of the IEA, that's the YEA, that the 3,000 vacancies that these companies, they say over 100 companies are there now. Are they sure that the 3,000 will be filled, and is it specific to the Greater Accra region alone? And the answer was an emphatic yes. So the 3,000 vacancies declared by these companies will be for the Greater Accra region alone. And they're going to move to the other 15 regions. The next is the Volta region. That would also have specific number of vacancies declared by the companies that are going to take part in this job fair. So that's the process that they
and for some, the sheer numbers of people we saw yesterday and those who are seeing today paints a picture of the reality of the unemployment situation, not just among the young people, but even, as you say, older people who may have lost their jobs due to COVID.
Absolutely. It's scary, and to say the least, because what we do know, at least according to statistics from the World Bank, we have over 110,000 young people graduating from our various tertiary institutions every year. And just about 10% of that number get permanent jobs after serving their national service. So when I was going there, I wasn't expecting anything different, but the numbers we're seeing there at the conference center is just a symptom of the bigger problem of unemployment. I mean, you don't expect that even the young people who are unemployed will all go to the conference center to go and seek employment. Questions have been raised about the sustainability of this particular intervention, because in the end, you will not have companies declaring vacancies every year. So is this just a one-stop shop thing, as against what we used to see with the NYEP, GIDA, YEA itself having some 2-year module of employment, and after 2 years, the people move on. That's where the concern is, how this will be sustained. And the question about how the processes are going to be favorable to persons living with all forms of disabilities. I had a chat with one of them, which,
we're bringing subsequently. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Alfred Okansay.